Hi, Psychology 101. My name is Wanda Pritchett, and I am an undergrad student at American Public University. This is my project on pro-social behaviors, and I hope you enjoy. Before I begin talking about our project, I wanted to include a few psychological concepts involved in this experiment that we all did. One being reaction formation, and the second being displacement, which they're kind of opposites. Reaction formation would be where we naturally have the impulse to act out in anger or to not be kind to somebody, whereas in this setting and in this experiment, we switched those impulses and turned them into their opposites. So, on occasions where we might want to act out in a negative way or have less sympathy or less kindness towards somebody, we all chose to not do that. We chose to have a pro-social behavior. And displacement, which is kind of like the opposite. We have aggression and impulses toward that we're frustrated about, but we put them towards a more acceptable, less threatening object or person. This is where we would normally take out our frustration on somebody because we're frustrated about a situation, but instead of taking it out on the real situation, we do it to possibly somebody who is not deserving of it at all. So, for our experiment, this last week, I participated in the class-wide experiment based on pro-social behavior. We chose a day to live in an intentional state of basically looking for ways to serve others and be kind in any way. The day I chose to be pro-social on, I awoke and initially almost forgot about the project. I have my 2-year-old son, so I often wake up fairly positive because I have so much to be thankful for. Plus, he comes to lay with me when his dad leaves, so I literally wake up to his sweet little face. Throughout my day, I followed the guidelines set out for this experiment. A few examples of my pro-social behavior I participated in was interactions with my son, being a full-time mom, full-time student, full-time wife, being away from family. Life can get hard sometimes, and I know that I can be short with him. But with interactions with him on this day, I actively tried to not get upset or become frustrated, and at times when he spilled his chocolate milk for the third time, when I had already put guidelines in place for him to put it on the table, but he didn't, I chose to encourage him to just join me in cleaning up the mess, and we patiently worked through all of our altercations throughout the day. While out and about, I would make conscious decisions to let people have the right way in the parking lot and just be friendly and kind. In the store, I tried to do the same and let people go ahead of me, smile, and say hi to everyone. When it came time for dinner, I made my husband's favorite meal, burgers, even though I do not care for meat much. I had everything set up for him when he got home and actively tried to see if he needed anything or if there was anything I could do for him. By the end of the day, I felt honestly exhausted. I think physically, just from everyday life, but also emotionally. When you are constantly putting effort and time and thought into looking for ways to help other people, it honestly can be exhausting and you feel empty, just drained. But I also felt very positive. I felt this general peace within me. I was exhausted, but I knew that I had been the best me that I could have been that day, and I really felt like I loved others. I saw them differently when I was having a positive outlook myself and looking for ways that I could have been kind to them or anything like that. So this project was an eye-opening experience. I found that it can be draining to always be looking for ways to serve others, but over time it becomes more natural and less forced. I actually began to enjoy it. In this, my situation was pretty much the same as usual, and my personality, I'm generally a fairly nice person, not super angry, so in this type of situation, I don't think my environment changed my personality at all. I think there was just like this mental awareness that I created. It was for a project, but I think that I would like to continue doing this and continuing putting others first more than normal and just looking for ways to be kind. In my next slide, I will go over an article that proposes that prosocial behavior is impossible without love and positive emotions. I generally have empathy and compassion towards anyone and everyone, but I 100% without a doubt love my family more than life, so I think it was easier for me to act in such an intentional state of kindness and prosocial behavior for this project. I think I would have had a little more difficulty had I been around people I struggle to be around, but since I live with my family and I spend most of my day interacting with them, it was a little bit easier for me to continue on doing this. So, feeling love and doing more for distant others, specific positive emotions, differentially affect prosocial consumption. This article I found, researchers found that prosocial behaviors, other than in a required setting like this project, of course, require positive emotion. In everyday life, when you are not receiving a grade for being kind to others, you must have some kind of hope, compassion, and love within you to create true prosocial behavior. Even if it doesn't necessarily come easy to you, having a glimpse of positive emotion within you and the desire to be kind to others will create prosocial behaviors and tendencies. Throughout the day of this experiment, I began to think if my actions really did matter, if it truly was affecting anyone, was me being intentional about my attitude and actions in a positive way really doing anything? Was it creating an effect? And according to our first impressions video from our lesson, typically, yes, I may have had an impression on someone, but not necessarily a lasting one. If this person had seen me possibly on a day before or a day after where I was in my car potentially having complete road rage and a bad attitude, would they have had a different view of me, or would they have had a different impression of me? Would my kind gesture in the grocery store have been enough to balance out this bad experience as well? Typically, it is believed that my negative impression would be the main factor in how they see me if they don't know me and know my typical behaviors and my personality. But having this good impression be the only impression on most of the people I saw that were outside of my family, they, for the most part, probably found it refreshing. They appreciated it. I don't think anybody would necessarily have a bad attitude about me being kind to them. This project was a lot of fun, and I feel like I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the type of person I want to be and strive to be, and I think that it does take a true change of heart and rewiring of your brain almost to create pro-social behaviors in your everyday life. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a great night. Bye.